There it goes. Do you guys have any questions about anything before I get going? Come on. Yeah. You can email me. I don't promise an instant response, but I usually check my emails. Yeah. And typically, as you might have noticed, I do grading on Sundays. That's partially through procrastination. It's my last day I can do it. All right. Let me real quickly, I'm going to bring up Notepad. Let's make kind of a quickie review on some of the JSON. And what we'll do is we'll just make a few records and then I'll show you how to insert them. What do we want to do them on? Anybody? I could go steal some from a blog, but I thought I would make a couple.
You did the books on.
Yeah, do you want to do books again?
Let's do animals on a zoo.
What?
Zoo.
A zoo?
Yeah.
All right.
Animals
And then what would you, so
you could have all the animals and their names and the various stands and the employees.
all right, so this is going to be zoo. This is interesting. I've never done a zoo. So typically, zoo. Typically, although I have a hard time doing this, they do most everything lowercase. And part of the reason that is case sensitive, and I think it's just easier if everything's lowercase, it just works better. The content doesn't have to be that way, but usually the field names and the table names and the. So I'm going to do, let's just allow it to do the IDs, I guess. So you're thinking animals. What do we want as an animal?
Snakes.
So that's a kind. So let's do,
Zach the zebra.
all right. So let's do, oh yeah. I forgot I've increased it on the lower one, but not this one. Is that better? Good enough or more? So let's do, I'm not going to go so far as to say mammal. I'll just say zebra. What do we want to call it? Enclosure area? What?
Even the African safari.
Right. But I was just trying to think of what I want to name that as a field name. Habit? Habitat? Would it be Savannah? Anything else I want to know about the Zach the zebra?
When it was brought to the,
What?
it was brought to the zoo or something. Do you need that?
Maybe. You could do like, yeah, age. I don't want to make a huge thing, but let's do, how long do zebras live? Let's just make it a 5 years old.
They're all named.
Yeah. And then let's just do diet real quickly and grass. I don't know what they eat. I assume they eat grass.
They do eat some type of crap.
All right, so I'm going to close that off. And let's do another animal. Let's do like 2 of them, and then we'll do enclosures, and then we'll do zoo. We'll just do 2 or 3 records each. I don't want to spend forever on this, but I just wanted to kind of reinforce doing this because I think the JSON is a bit alien for most of you. So again, curly brace. Spacing, again, the line breaks and spacing are purely for readability. It could all be on one line, right? Does that make sense? The important things are the colons, that you quote the value. You can quote these too. It doesn't hurt to quote it, but you don't have to if it's just one word. And comma after every value except the last one. And closing curly braces matter also. So this could all be literally, because of the commas, it could all be one line if you want. Does that make sense? The line break, I'm just doing that for readability. So let's do another name for an animal. Ellie the elephant.
Thanks. Gotta be so. Oh,
What were you going to do? I didn't hear yours.
I said Jenny the giraffe.
Oh, Jenny the giraffe.
Well, we'll do that one.
Yeah, we could do that one third, and that'll probably be our last one. Type elephant. Although there are, if you wanted to get specific, we could make it an African as opposed to an Indian elephant. You know, there are different species of elephant. There are different varieties. Are these varieties or species? Probably
Genus.
variety. Genius.
Genus.
It's been a long time since I did biological classifications. Habitat is the same. We should do somebody that's in a different habitat, though.
You do an Indian elephant and put him in the jungle.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. East Asian jungle.
Yeah.
Age, they can live to be about 40, 50, I think, maybe more. So let's just say 30.
Yeah.
All right. Diet. They feed them mostly hay, don't they?
Peanuts.
Peanuts. Yeah, we could put peanuts. Although I do think an elephant would not fare well if they ate only peanuts.
Aren't they vegetarians? They don't eat meat.
No, they don't eat meat.
Yeah, they eat fruit. Yeah, I want to step out of the jungle.
Okay, so this will be the last one. We've got 2 habitats. Let's just do one more.
You needed a comma too in between those entries.
Yes, I do. Now, you don't need a comma between them if you add them one at a time, but I'm going to show you how to add them all together. Actually, should we add them one at a time or all together? Okay. All right, so we need something else. All right, so name Jenny, like
Yeah.
like that. And I need a quote to begin that. Now, one of the things, let's leave one thing out. So we'll do type giraffe. Let's leave, so we'll do habitat, which again would be African savanna, right? Let's leave out the age and just do diet. With a giraffes eat leaves. Okay, then I'm going to close this.
Now, is it important to have a space between like diet and colon? Is another one?
It isn't actually.
Oh, okay.
It's better
Visual.
visually if there's a space, I think.
Okay.
But it really shouldn't matter. All right, so I'm going to do the next one. Let's do, let's call it habitats. And we'll just do a couple of those. And I'm not sure if we'll do employees, just habitats. So one of them would be, we'll just do the name. Let me expand this and see if I can also go up a little. African savanna. What else do we want to know about it? Description or something? How would we describe the African savanna? Grass and trees.
Grass, trees, and exotic animals.
All right. So you might want a more scientific description of that. I'm going to put inhabitants. And what I'll do is I will put Zach the zebra. And I'm going to do a comma and do Ellie, not Ellie, so it'd be Jenny the giraffe. And you could list all the others too. So do I want, I'm going to capitalize giraffe here. I probably would want to capitalize it here just because the searches would get confused. So this is a little array. And then I'm going to, this is something you can always do too, which I had, and just copy that. And instead of African savanna, this will be in East Asian jungle. I don't know, what's an East Asian jungle look like? I've been, I mean, they have one at the zoo too, but I don't know.
Wet, dangerous, and
It wouldn't be dangerous, but it would be wet, tropical. Do they have palms?
yeah.
I have no idea. And then this one, we've only got, for our current database, we've only got Ellie the elephant, so we could just do okay, so I think this is all I want to do. Now you can get much more intricate than this, but I just wanted to show you how to. So if we want to do these as multiple inserts, I need to put a square bracket in front of it and a square bracket at the end of the three. And I could do the same here if I want. And I also need to, if you're doing the square brackets, there has to be a comma after each closing curly brace. That creates an array of objects, right? And you can insert an array. And I'm going to show you how. Okay. Questions before I move on to doing that? What do you need? Which part? Yeah, so basically what I did down here is the two habitats, right? There's a comma again after the bottom part, and this. The square brackets in here means that it's an array for the field values. You can also put, you could put a complete description of Zach the zebra and Jenny the giraffe, but you can actually put arrays of objects as a value inside of an object. And you'll see that happen a lot, but I don't necessarily want to get to that complexity. So we're going to enter this just kind of like the with the other databases where we went into the forms and entered the data. The way we're entering the data here is fairly unnatural. I mean, we're just manually entering the JSON. Typically, what you would do is you would capture. You'd either capture something that's already formatted as JSON from some social media thing and just write it to the database, or you would have forms, web forms, where it would write it into a JSON structure and then paste it into the, insert it into the database. It's rare that you would write the JSON directly into the database. Does that make sense? So it's not, this is again kind of an unnatural way to enter data, but it works. It's what has to happen, but usually it's done to create the software to do it for you. You can find, if you look online, you can find like a 10, for almost any social media, there is a way to get the JSON from it and write it to Mongo. And it usually takes like 10 to 15 lines of Python to do it. It's not a big deal for most of them. I did it for Twitter, and you can get thousands and thousands of Twitter feeds into a database in moments. All right, so let's start. This is the part about starting. You've already got yours started, I see. I'm going to start the, let me zoom. So the first thing I'll do is get the mag. All right, these are going to get gigantic. But I wanted to do it for here. So again, you want the command prompt. It's an interesting thing. Why is that? Why did I get all of these? That's weird. What is the term for clear? I thought it was CLR. There we go. It seemed to have wanted to paste all of these in already. I don't know why that would be. Anyway, we need to CD, right? CD is change directory. With the backslash, it goes to root. In Linux, you just say CD root. All right, so then we need to change the directory again, because what we want to do is get into the directory where Mongo is. For those of you that are knowledgeable, you could put this into your Windows path statement and not have to type it anymore. I don't want to necessarily go there because I think it can be confusing and a long, drawn-out thing, but you can put this into the Windows path thing and it would be available from then on without having to type it in, which would be nice. So the file is in program files, and then it is in MongoDB server 3.4 bin. Okay, so that's basically just where the Mongo, in the program files on your computer, there's a Mongo directory, there's a server directory, it has the version, and then it has the binary files. When you press enter, notice the CD goes away because we've changed the directory to that. That is now our operating directory. we can do MongoD. That's the server. Remember, the server is the program that runs in the background. That is the actual database. And this is the same way that relational databases run. The actual database, the data engine runs in the background as a server. Typically, if you were running a server, you would start this and then you would leave it running forever. And then you would also, there are some options you can run here, which I might show you next week. You can run it with authentication enabled, which means that people have to log in. We're running it without authentication, which really is a problem, because if you just stop the server and restart it without authentication enabled, you don't have to authenticate. So, but we're running it without. So MongoD, and we get the server, and down here, you know it's working if it's waiting for connections. Does that make sense? Now you can minimize this, but we need another command object for the client. What was your error message? Let me look.
Can you scroll back up to the top of that?
Top of which?
The top of the, where you were doing the Mongo server. On that page there.
Oh, the other one. In fact, I'll show you something you can do there in a moment. Be right there. Oh, did you? Okay. You can launch the second one. So I launched it and everything. Yeah, I'll be able to. So program file. You got that server. So it's server slash 3.4. Yeah, is that on CD? What's inside of it? Yeah, so leave that one out, but the one that's good. This is not really ours. You might have to start. Oh, we can only have one. So. Are you ready? Anyone else? Did it work over here? And then it's just sort of
Oh, the ED
shut it down. So.
Oh.
So you need two windows. One of the things I was going to show you,
So I have a message on mine that says thread waiting for connection on port.
that's what you want.
Okay, and then you said open another one?
Yeah, open another one. So when you're down here where it's waiting for a connection, right, that means that your server is running and it's ready to go. One of the things I'm going to do real quickly, I'll do CD backslash in the second window. We need to get to root in second window. What I wanted to show you in the first window, if you want, where it says CD program files, Mongo server, there is a thing under edit, and you can do mark. So I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to do Control C, and then I can do Control V. I don't have to type it again. So I'll do that again. Again, you don't have to, you can type it. But in the first one, up at the top, where it had the CD program files, if I do the little C in the corner there by the command prompt, if I go to edit, it has a thing called mark. And I can highlight. And then Control C, which is copy. If you try to right click and copy, it won't work. Control V or paste. That's only, I mean, otherwise you can type it.
I'm having problems getting the second one open.
What?
Problems getting, I do exact same thing, see, blah, 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 right?
Well, actually, so go down to the, here, get a second one open.
Here?
Yeah, and do CMD. And then open another command. And then you can do CD backslash. The CD backslash takes you to root, otherwise it won't work.
That's all we want.
And then at the, so I press enter here.
Why are we doing it in two windows?
Because the server is one window, it won't let you do the client in that window. This one is Mongo, just Mongo. And this creates the client, and I'll help you come around. The client is like server. So this is- and then we need that CD. So yeah, copy it. Go there.
It's letting me access the CI.
Right.
It's letting me access the CI.
System cannot find the path specified.
Oh. You had
So the command line is a pain, right? That you can get to where. That's fine. Let's see. Waiting for connection. Over here. Oh, we didn't do good.
I'm having a problem here.
Okay.
So, wasn't I supposed to type that in?
So you have to do that first. Snooze or pick a time. Yeah.
Like this, type this in first, right?
Right,
And I did that twice.
but you have to press into it. So let's copy this. You can trust. And then control.
Hit enter.
We need to go back, and then get the CD or whatever. We have to change the direction to this, right? So I'm going to do CD space. Go to the end of the line. All right, now do Mongo.
Let's play Mongo.
Yeah, and then press enter. So you're ready.
Okay.
Anyone else? We'll get this one. The web shut down.
Oh, you got it. This is enough with that. And you're here,
Just that. All right, let's enter some stuff now. Everybody got it? Okay. So as I said, the command line is a thing it takes getting used to, and it is absolutely unforgiving of typos. So it takes a while to get it. So I'm going to just say use zoo. Okay, notice it says switch to DB zoo. So we have a database now called zoo. Literally, that's all it takes to create a database is just to use it.
We don't need to change the typos or the code.
What do you mean change the?
Its name is dot.
So if we put use Python Cloud, we would create.
No, you don't have to change that.
Your name, his name.
No, it's not. We're not going to read it. We're going to copy it from the file, not try to read it. Yeah.
What happens if like we have a big file just in the name? How do we check to?
I'll show you actually after we do. There, you can see what databases are there, and you can drop a database. You had a question?
So if I want to do my homework, I would write use Python Cloud.
Yes, but no spaces. Well, underscore would work, I think. I didn't see the underscore there. So we've got the zoo. And what I want to do is I'm going to do DB, which is our current context, right? DB is zoo. I'm going to say animal collection. You don't have to use the word collection if you don't want. So I could say just animals. You want me to say animals or animals collection?
Animal.
All right. So animals is going to become a collection. I am going to do, we can do find right away, or we could do insert. I'm going to start a parentheses. Now, if I go to my notepad and I get all my animals, so don't get the word animals, but you want the square bracket. You want all of the things down to the other square bracket. I'm going to copy them. I can right click here and it pastes. I don't know why right click pastes, but it does. All right, so just to look at that, it has everything in the set, and you could type them in here too, exactly like this. It won't run now unless I still have to do a closed parentheses. Doesn't have to be on another line, but I did it on another line. So I'm going to maximize this. Well, so what I've got here is db animals.insert, and I've got these three animals. It should create the collection, and it should add the animals to it. All right, the square brackets are necessary if you're adding more than one record at a time. If there's any typos, we'll get long error messages. So I press enter, and it gives me some information. This is actually good information. Right errors are 0. There were no errors on the right. Right concern arrows, it's empty. 3 were inserted. Upserted means, yeah.
I didn't get any.
I didn't give you any.
Can you scroll down so I can?
You're missing a curly bit. Do another one. Just do another one. Yeah, we go. The first two use. So if you have a syntax error, the first to correct it is in your notepad.
This is how you roll.
Not really. So let's look at your notepad. What? But there was a curly brace missing.
So yeah. Parentheses, square bracket,
Is the last curly that's gonna come?
It doesn't give you any error.
I need to get up there to the top so I can see what you're doing.
Frozen.
Did you guys get it?
So just do DB. Almost gonna say that. Right click.
You did the same. I'm before.
Yeah, so you don't want to have. You want to DB dot. And then
I don't know.
So copy this without the compass, which you got. No, just gonna. So you have to do,
If we're gonna follow that, just say you do an update. But if you're kind of doing your own type, you want to use the syntax. That was used. I don't know. I use sort of,
That yours work? Yeah.
Yeah. Take a look back on the camera.
Oh, sorry. I think you can get some of there.
you made that. Yeah, and you use that.
Peter, did you get yours to work? Did you get yours to work? Did you get yours to work? How do you get that on the story? This is stories like that.
The other, I'll show you how
That's
to-
this one.
Habitat doesn't have here. That can be loaded. Again.
I'm trying to get there. Yeah. Where's the first one?
Is yours working?
No, I touched it.
So yours.
Okay, so I can just touch that.
Yeah, but this is just like. This is
I'm
not.
in this. will be the
Where did
first,
you
so I can
insert
get up
that?
here.
Try to insert again.
This is, that's supposed to- I need to get rid of this. Nice, this. Down and back like this. Where is it?
I don't even think it's fine. This is not.
This one.
You want to close your parentheses.
It's
Yours. You have two colons after type. It work?
Yeah.
Good eye.
This
Behind there, you have your other.
little thing,
Yeah.
little stuff.
Oh, there's.
Yeah. I already tried 4 times, but
I tried 4 times.
Yeah.
And
I don't find them.
But you know, it's one per, it's like someone's new eyes, so
Yeah.
it just pops out of them. Which is why we're dating teams. in the real world. Takes it over.
No, it is not reading the notepad. I think you would have to do something.
The main.
It disappears.
I'm just copying and pasting from Notepad. Yeah, it's not reading the Notepad file. It is possible, I think, to make it read files, but I think you might need Python or something to do it. Yeah. So I'm going to go back. So the next thing we have are the habitats. And then I'll show you how. So I'm going to copy the habitats from the square bracket to the other square bracket. Typos, most of the errors I see are typos, and they're sometimes really hard to see. You know, a failed to close a quote, a missing comma. Things in just the wrong order could just mess things up. So I'm going to make a second insert, and then I will show you, we'll do some selects to see that they're there. And I'll also show you how you can see what databases you have. I may have to look that up, but I'll do that. The manual for Mongo is really good. You know, if you want to learn commands and stuff, the Mongo manual is very good. It has lots of examples. It's easy to find things. You know, I was actually really impressed with the manual. So I'm going to just do DB. We're in the same context. And I'll do habitats. And again, insert. Start a paren. I copied mine already. So I'll paste it. I'm going to press enter and then close. You don't have to press enter to close this, but I just keeping it kind of looking nice. So where I used to, I've had problems before when you're doing multiple inserts, right? You have the parentheses because insert is a function. You know how functions typically have parentheses, even in other languages, and same in JavaScript. Square bracket because it's an array, and then curly brace because it's the beginning of an object. End curly brace, comma, begin curly brace. Now, I don't know if this empty space here will cause a problem. It may. It may cause it to fail. Let's see. I'm going to press enter. No, it worked. It inserted two, so it ignored the empty space. That's good. Yeah.
I found my list, but now I'm trying to find the other.
Yeah. That's what we're
Just
working
say,
on.
oh, it's in here. Just
I mean, so we'll do it with
somewhere.
It's not in this space, but in this one here. So it's like, or, actually,
That's this one.
yeah, no, that is it. Go back. That's one more. All right. Yeah,
Yes.
this one's up. Copy it.
No, do I need to, so from here, I need to go in and copy the list.
Yes, go back and copy that.
Oh, here.
And then it's back close to yours. I know, I took 6 more.
And this is not that part, just from here to all of that. And paste this.
Oh. One curve, you have one already, so don't have to split.
That's not it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Zach, this is, well, it's in there, but
That's right. So now go back to documents.
oh, you know why? It might be because this is from the, what's it called? It shouldn't matter. Should be a. Well, I got it down here. You're right. Put that again. That should be a double quote.
I stick with double quotes all the time just because I think it's in the book first. Okay. Fucking errors.
Oh, I did that. Change to Zoom.
I just got there right in the
DB. Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna show you a couple other things and then Basically, the goal of this is to get your show traffic.
Four slash or something.
Parentheses,
Oh, yeah.
square bracket.
Yeah, I fixed that.
That's how
Oh, that
you
was
got
better.
two or three more.
I got it again. So
This is might have double quotes on it, 2 years, so go back to the file.
under what?
Okay. No, we both looked at it, looked at it. I got this 5 times in a row, I'm like, what?
That's the way you learn. Keep making mistakes.
I love
Under 22 years, I have too many. That was the only mistake.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm gonna get it going back and forth.
That's okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to begin. Parentheses and square bracket. You have a curly brackets in there. And keep on. Now, okay, so now you need to put another square bracket. And then square bracket.
The end square.
Square and parentheses. And that's it goes everything up to the acceptable.
It's saying missing something before statement.
That's for this time.
But it doesn't tell me what.
No,
Sometimes
that's not gonna help you.
missing before statement. So, okay, but I appreciate it. So I think you've drilled in my head enough to where I know where to go. So I'm gonna go back and look.
Go.
See if I can figure
Have
it
fun.
out. Okay, thank you. What the heck is wrong with you? So then is Tita.
Did most people get it in?
That's some errors on
You have errors.
here.
I'll come look at the errors in a moment. I just wanted to show, so the goal of this is just to show you how you can enter. Now, you don't have to enter them in bulk. And one of the things that might work better if you're having trouble with the bulk entry is to enter them one at a time. If you do them one at a time, you leave out the square brackets, right? Notice that the response here is also a JSON file. So I just wanted to do db.animals.find, and I will show you more about searching next time. But if I do that, notice it returns my 3 animals. And it gave them, I didn't provide an ID, so it gave me its own ID. So the underscore ID is an object ID, and it gives me that long number. And if I do db.habitats.find, it'll return the 2 habitats. All right. Real quickly, I'm going to go to my blog. Oh, it's still up. And I want to go to first steps with NoSQL. So if you want to see, that's indexes. I'm going to do list databases. So actually, I'm going to just take this command. Whoa, it ran. But basically, the command is db admin command, parentheses, curly braces, list databases, :1. The 1 there is a Boolean, yes, no, all of them basically, true, false. So db admin command, list databases. If you just want to see what databases you have, so we have one called admin, right? That's always there. There's one called local, which is always there. There's one called test, which we made last time. And then there's the one called zoo that we made this time. Right? And you can drop a database if you want. And so far I've used 212 bytes, I think. No, 212,000 bytes. I just want, so you can check your data. And this, if you want to display the data when you put it in there, you can do the font. The one is just true false. This database is true false.
So I think I did it right. Isn't there another step? See, the information code, but then isn't there another step that gets me? Thank you.
But the end needs to have square brackets and break your run. Yeah. Let's look at your. Yeah. No. Or you could try to go one at a time. So it is service. Oh, that's all we have. So what I did up there, I just did DB animal spine. We just like select stuff. So actually, so what the assignment is basically is to get your show tracker stuff in, right? And then if you do, because this is just for the show that you created it, if you can do DB whatever the collection is dot find with parentheses, it'll show the things, and then you can do a quick screenshot. So like something like right. Although do it for the assignments to do it with the show tracker database, right? Were you here when we talked about the show tracker database? You were. You might have left a little early. It's the assignment, and let me show you again. I don't know exactly how this, so there's a video of this which has a lot of gaps because I was helping people a lot. And then I'm not sure how, I will post the a picture, some pictures of this and the code in Notepad. But let's go back to the assignment. So I want to maximize this. I'm going to unzoom for a moment. Actually, I didn't have to zoom. I could have just changed the font on that. All right, so here's Canvas. So if we go to the modules, come on. I didn't want to go to grades. Get out of there. I just want to go home. Home. So down here when we have it's the show tracker PDF. This is the idea is to create a database in Mongo that tracks the shows in town and the venues that they take place in and the artists. Right, so that's what we want for the assignment. You can look at it here. It's the show tracker PDF. The assignment that I was working on today, let's go back to modules, is so we did the JSON. Most of you turned it in. You can still do that. You know, just figure out what the JSON would be for it. And then this is to create the database and collections. And then you could do a screenshot. So again, if I do snipping tool, Um, and the part here that would be relevant, I'm going to zoom up again, I think. Would be, again, do it for the show tracker though. The idea is just to show that you've got the database. So I'm going to just take a picture of this. So you really only need 2 or 3 entries in each table, kind of like before. You know, so just a picture of the screen that shows you have data in there. You really only need 2 or 3. You can put in a few more if you want, but just a few. Because what we'll do on Monday is do some queries. I'll show you how to do some queries, and then we'll basically be done. And the rest of the time, I'm just going to show you like a little bit about security and some things like that. And you can catch up if you're behind. So, and we looked at that. So the show tracker PDF, that tells you kind of what the basic database idea is. Yeah, so the first thing to do is the notepad. So then, right, so just do that with the show tracker. So there would be things like shows and artists and other things. And then, and you only need a couple of samples. So in the notepad, I just want a couple of sample things for each one. And then this assignment is where you actually put those into the Wednesday is wide open. I'm not doing anything. So Wednesday is open like that.
Do we need to close the windows then for the new window?
No, you don't have to do a new one. So if you wanted to switch to I'm just going to minimize that. If you wanted to down here, is that actually that's the right one? So I'm in the same thing here. If you want to do like show tracker, use show tracker, and you're now in show tracker, right? Right. So if you wanted to create a venues, you could do DB. Now you could either do an insert at this point, but you could also do, if you just do venues find, or if you do an insert at this point, venues exists at this point, right? And then you could just insert a couple of records. And again, it would be db.venues.insert. And you can insert them one at a time, or you can do, you know, a group like we did. But if you're getting lots of errors doing them as a group, do them one at a time. It's less frustrating because then you can, it'll usually, there's just like one, if you have a group, there's just one of them that's giving you trouble. And it sometimes can be impossible to see that. If you insert them one at a time, if it goes, you know, that one's good, then, you know, basically you can tell where the trouble is.
So you want for each of the 3 entries we make in each of the categories, you want.
Right, so if you do like,
You want to see that? So a lot of people on.
well, so you don't have to, if we do like, so I'm going to say, go back to use zoo. So we're back to zoo. If I do db.animals.find, see how it does them?
So that's what you want.
Yeah, if you just do a dot find for the, so like if you do enter something into venues, basically this line, if there were anything in there, it would show you.
Okay.
And it doesn't show them spread out like the way you wrote them. It does them all in one line, basically. And then, as I said, I'll show you how to search these on Monday. Wednesday's wide open live. You're all caught up, or you have plans for Thanksgiving to take you away, you don't have to be here, but I will be here. There will be class, but just open live. Okay, so let me circulate and help people. I'm going to turn this off and turn off the the video. I'll post them. Actually, let me post this and I'll help.
Is there a clean way to stop the service?
Clean way to what?
Stopping the service?
You know, I don't know of a clean way to stop the service other than just to shut the window off.
Okay.
With the client, you can say exit.
Okay.
You could try saying exit there, but there's no prompt on the server side.
The service looks like it said end connection. Fine.
Oh, yeah, it ends the connection, but it doesn't kill the server.